Hello, I'm Patrick Stewart, and you're in the studio with The Hollywood Reporter.
Let's start at the very beginning. Could you tell me a memory that sticks out to you of the late, great Gene Roddenberry?
Gene had been very reluctant to cast me from the beginning, from the first day that I was rushed over to his house to meet with him. The meeting lasted about 7 minutes. And all I can remember is that there was a lot of orange shag pile carpet in the bungalow he was living in. But he made it clear that I was not what he was looking for. And months and months went by, and I was called back for more meetings and an audition, and I became aware that there were people who were campaigning for me as part of the production. And at last, the moment came when I auditioned for the studio, and they made me an offer. Gene would come down to the set 2 or 3 times during the week, and he would sit in a director's chair and watch what we were doing. And occasionally, I would catch him looking at me, and I know that he was thinking, what the hell is this guy doing in my show? Because I don't think he'd ever got I am told that somewhere in the archives, in the cellars of Paramount, there is a memo which came from Gene to everybody on the production saying that he did not want to hear my name mentioned again. And
amazing.
But
what was it? What was he looking for?
Well, you know, when this new series was announced and the casting, the Los Angeles Times described me as unknown British Shakespearean actor Patrick Stewart. Well, as a foretaste of the kind of company I was going to be keeping in this new series, Brent Spiner, who played Data the android, he had a sign made. And I came back to my trailer one day, and it was stuck on my trailer door, and it said in big red letters, "Beware, unknown British Shakespearean actor." You know, if you didn't go to the Royal Shakespeare Company or watch BBC Two, you really had no idea who this person was.
There is a line that is very important in the Star Trek universe, which is, "The line must be drawn here."
Oh, yes, you're right.
Right, from First Contact.
Yeah.
Did you know that line was going to end up being it's a meme, it's an internet sensation?
Yeah. No, I didn't. All I knew was that it was an opportunity for me to illustrate what we rarely saw of Jean-Luc Picard, but him in a rage, in a fury, not able to contain his feelings. But I was also teased about that because I added a vowel sound that wasn't there. I actually do say, and I heard this the other day, the recording of it, the line must be drawn here. And it's not, it's here. Here is what we say, not here. And so I was teased a lot about that, but well.
Well, let's pivot. There are so many directions I would love to go. One of the things is your love of American cinema. You directed A Fistful of Dollars, which is a spaghetti western.
There was a lot of profound irritation about that because we had a number of directors we were cycling through. They were doing every 5th or 6th episode, and very, very good directors. And I had followed in Jonathan Frakes' footsteps, he went to Paramount University to learn to be a director. And he was so serious about this that Rick Berman finally gave him a show to direct, and it was one of the best episodes we ever did. And so I felt I would like to follow in his footsteps at some point. So I got to do 6 shows, but you never quite knew what you were going to direct until maybe a few days before you started prep on it. And when the word got around that I was the one who had landed the Western, people were so irritated about that. I mean, he's an Englishman, he's a Shakespearean actor. What does he know about Westerns? Well, actually, I know a hell of a lot because I saw so many Westerns. I loved Westerns when I was a kid. To be honest, directing those, I think, 5 or 6 episodes, over the last 3 seasons, gave me an added energy, an added enthusiasm for what I was doing, a different kind of interest, because being behind the camera is a very different experience. Yeah. And I think it kept me active during the final couple of seasons of Next Generation.
You have some of the most memorable lines in film, television, and theater. Can you tell me a line that sticks out to you? A line that you love?
You know, there was a period of my life when I was doing a lot of Shakespeare. When I worked for 12 years with the Royal Shakespeare Company in Stratford and London, and touring worldwide. And people would say to me, "What is your favorite Shakespearean line?" Well, there, you know, where do you begin? But I always loved the ordinary things he said, often very, very unexpectedly. So plain, so simple. For example, there's a moment at the end of one of my favorite plays, Winter's Tale, when the Leontes, the king, who believed his wife had died many, many, many years ago, and he was responsible for her death, is taken to see a statue of her that has been made, and the statue suddenly moves, and it's her. And she takes her ex-husband's hand, and he says, "Oh, she's warm." He used these simple, everyday phrases at times, and they have an almost shattering impact on the verse and the poetry that surrounds them. Actually, one of the lines that has become a commonplace in our family was not said by me. It was said by Ian McKellen when we did Waiting for Godot. And he used to say to me with this emphasis, "Not now, Dee Dee, not now." Well, my wife has taken that up, so I get, "Not now, Patrick, not now." And there are lines that stick and that will never, ever really fade away. You know.
Do you have a favorite Star Trek movie, one that you love?
I think the second movie, which was the one that Jonathan Frakes directed, for First Contact,
yes,
I think was outstanding, yes, and was the best of our 4 movies. And some of the episodes that Jonathan directed are also outstanding, and he is directing Star Trek Picard,
yes,
2 episodes in the first season, and I think I can say with confidence he will be directing in other seasons if and when they happen.
My last question to you is about your social media presence, because you have won the hearts of the internet with your friendship with Sir Ian McKellen and also your love of your rescue dog. Oh, yeah. Can you please tell your fans some advice that they might have if they would like long-lasting friendships like the ones you have?
I'm not sure how Ian would feel about our relationship being compared to my relationship with Pitbulls. But it started very late because Ian had a very successful career. Ian was already becoming a star when he was at university, when he was at Cambridge. People knew that there was this actor. And I saw him when he was a young actor, and I was blown away by what he did. Not only the talent, but he was so drop-dead gorgeous as well. And you know, look at me, not a hope in hell. And then it wasn't, and we did work in the Royal Shakespeare Company together, but I was very shy, and shy of him. He always seemed to be surrounded by people, good friends, but then we were cast in X-Men, and we had adjoining trailers, and that was when the relationship really began. And it was a simple matter that we found we had a huge amount in common. I love him deeply, and of course I think he's generally known now. He actually married my wife and I. He performed the ceremony.
How lovely.
He got himself the documents that gave him permission to marry people, and he's only done it once. I know he's had offers to do other. I think he's been offered a lot of money to marry people, but at the moment it just remains in us. As for dogs, we are now beginning to discover more and more and more about the capacity for intelligent response that dogs have. For instance, once our very first rescue dog was Ginger, and Ginger has now become an international superstar on social media, and she's now in a forever home and very, very happy. I was once rather unwell, and I was throwing up in the bathroom. It was a rather unpleasant side to this story, but my wife was at the other end of the house in the kitchen, and I didn't know this, but Ginger had been watching me. And I had my head in the toilet, and then she ran off to the kitchen and just began whimpering in front of Sunny, my wife, and Sunny said, "What is it? What's wrong? What's wrong?" And then she ran to the door, and Sunny realized she wanted her to follow. So thinking something must have happened, she came and found me unwell in the bathroom. And the dog did that. Nobody asked her, but she saw what was happening and knew that I needed some help and went to get it. This level of empathic understanding that creatures have, and there are so many of your viewers right now at this moment could tell many, many more stories like that, of an intuitive sense that some dogs have for what we are feeling. Ginger would occasionally look at me, and I know she would be saying, "Are you okay?" That was the look in her. "Everything okay?" "Oh," and I would say, "Everything's great. Everything's fine." And she would go, "Oh, good, good." She would go.
Well, Patrick Stewart, congratulations on the new series, Picard. It's on CBS All Access. Thank you very much, and we'll see you out there in space.
Eventually you will, yes.
Yes, that's right.